Hey there, this is Scott Welsh. It's April 27th, 2016, and this is the weekly blog post. Now, the title this week was inspired by Verbal Kint, who once famously said,
And the only thing that scares me is Kaiser Soze.
but we're not talking about Kaiser Soze this week. We're talking about FOMO. Now, a long time ago, I wrote about this subject, but we're going to talk about it again because I've got more to say about it. And the fear and the scariness of FOMO has not died down since I last spoke on it. Now, what is FOMO? Well, it's just an acronym. Is that an acronym where they have letters? Anyway, it is fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. FOMO. Have you heard of it? Do you know about this? Because it is a real thing. Now, I've been a tennis teacher for over 20 years, so I've been interacting with people who claim they want to be great at something, tennis in specific, but they claim they want to be great in something, and then I've dealt with the trials and the tribulations, because you can't say trials without saying tribulations. I've been dealing with their problems for a long time, and I'm telling you, from what I've seen with my own eyes, FOMO might be the biggest obstacle I've come across. The one thing that prevents people from being great. Now it comes down to this, as it says on the slide there. FOMO means you'll find yourself not being able to make any decisions. And why is that? Because what if I choose wrong? What if I make the wrong decision? What do I do? Or what if I make this decision and something better comes along? What do I do? And I've seen this in many situations, not just sports, not just trading, but in life where people are paralyzed by the fear of missing out. But let me give you a typical ridiculous situation that I've actually come across. Let's say a student, hypothetically, even though this is based on real life events, let's say a student comes to me and wants a new tennis racket. All right. Now, if you're a tennis player, the equipment kind of matters. It's not the only thing that makes you great, but a bad racket can really make it hard for you to play well. So a student comes to me and says, I need a new racket. Well, why do you need a new racket? Well, because the company that I use, whether that be Prince or Wilson, whatever, the company may not make it next year. Okay. Well, what racket do you like? What do you want to use? Well, I feel like I should play with a light frame because I hit with a lot of topspin, and if it's light, I can really whip through it and create a lot of rotation on the ball. But I play better with this other one, but I don't like how I serve with that other one. But this one I use is really much better on volleys. Okay, so which one do you like? Well, I could put lead tape on the light one, and that would make it a better weight, and maybe that would give me even more power. But I'm worried that it will take some pop off my ground strokes. I won't hit as hard. And this racket's handle feels better because it's more rounded. It's more rounded. It's not so oblong. But I have big hands, so maybe a flatter grip would be better. Can you guess how this story ends? First of all, it's me stabbing myself in the eyeballs with a pitchfork, and that's not easy. But it basically ends with not switching rackets at all, losing matches while you're worrying about your racket and how it feels and how the other one might be used. And it's just a constant churning of new irrelevant ideas, but not even ideas, because ideas are kind of a good thing. Constant worries. So, does this apply to trading? Does any of this make sense? Could you replace the racket talk with the trading talk? Well, let's go back to that slide. I want to switch trading systems. Well, why do you want to trade? Well, because I want to trade with shorter term and I want to trade on the 15-minute charts, but my current strategy does on the daily charts and I want to trade more short term, but I'm not sure if I can stay in front of my computer, and on and on. Just substitute a trader's worries for a tennis player's worries. You can see we end up in the same place. All right, so if I'm scared of choosing a new racket, but I need to, or if I'm scared of choosing a new trading system or sticking with what I've got, what do I do? How do I choose a trading system? I mean, how do I do it? All right, I buy the fact that I shouldn't have FOMO, but what do I do? Well, here's the catch, of course. is that not every trading system works. Some are bad, right? Some have ridiculous rules or rules that haven't been thought through or trade sizes that are too big or data that hasn't been researched. I mean, some are just bad. Some are destined to lose. Now, how do I know that? Because I test, geez, do I test every day? I think I test every day. I test every day, and the first time you run a test with certain parameters, it doesn't work. Negative, 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 losing year, losing year, losing year, right? Those systems don't work, right? Some systems are bad. And some that maybe you see online are just drummed up figures made to look good, right? I can run a test. You can run a test. You can open up your charts right now, look at the last 10 trades, and figure out rules for those last 10 trades that will work. That doesn't mean they're going to work for the next 10 trades. So it's not like, okay, just settle down, right? Some trading systems are bad. Hey, guess what? Some people you date or marry are bad too. Sometimes they're toxic. Sometimes they have addictions. Sometimes they don't truly love you. Some things are bad, all right? I'm not going to lie to you. But many, many trading systems work just fine. They work quite well. They work fantastically well. Which, of course, brings us back to the fear of missing out. If we know that some are bad, but we know that a lot are good, well, then how do you choose? I feel like I've just added to the problem. And I've also added to the wrong slide. Here's how you actually choose. To choose a trading system, fear of missing out, people, the system must make sense. Understand? If you can't understand it, if you can't find, or specifically, let me put it this way because I like this. If you can't find an example of your trading systems methodology in real life, then it's probably garbage. What do I mean by finding it in real life? I have found as a teacher and as a trader for a long time that there are universal truths. When I'm on the tennis court, I teach stuff that is applicable to every sport. It makes sense. It can make you better at any sport, not just tennis. And I'm talking about specific techniques, not philosophies. There are things that exist in all sports that you can use to get better. And there are things that you can use in trading that exist everywhere in the real world. And if it doesn't exist in the real world, it's probably made out of garbage. All right, example one, trading back to fair value. You could choose a trading system that bets, it's like value stock picking, right? That takes something that's gone away from fair value and bet it back up. All right, for example, if a car is a $50,000 car brand new, and it drops to $40,000 for some reason. Maybe it's a President's Day sale. You can buy a mattress, you can buy a new car, or whatever you want to do, whatever the reason. Maybe bad news comes out. Maybe it's, say, the week after the Volkswagen crisis came out. For whatever reason, if you get a $50,000 car at $40,000, that is a good trading system. You've made a good trade. That's true in cars. That's true in retail. What do? You go buy clothes in the off season and you get the same $200 jeans at $100 because it's off season. It's the same thing. Trading back to fair value or buying things on sale is a good trading system and it exists everywhere. Example two, buying on pullbacks. Taking something that's been going in one direction, clearly trending in one direction, and waiting for a pullback works. Let's use a sport example, and let's take maybe the greatest athlete of all time ever, anywhere on earth, forevermore. If Roger Federer is up 4-0 in the first set, right? He's playing unbelievably well. And you're one of those people that likes to bet tennis matches, you know, big betting scandal in tennis recently, by the way. But if Federer's up 4-0 and the other guy holds serve, so now it's 4-1, Federer just had a pullback, right? Instead of winning every single game 6-0, 6-0, it's now 4-1. He went on a streak. He was trending up. He won 4 games, and then he pulled back. He lost a game. Or maybe he even gets a serve broken. He loses one more game, 4-2. At 4-1 or 4-2, it is a good idea to bet that Federer is going to win that set or even the match. Let's just say the set. Let's not even go that far out. Short-term trading. If Federer's up 4-0, the trend is up. He pulls back, loses a game. That's a great time to bet right there. It's a great time to bet because he was just taking a little bit of rest. Same thing. If you're on a trading system and the trend is up and you get a little pullback, but the trend is up, then going long is a good idea. Buying on pullbacks work. Of course, Federer may lose that game at 4-1 and then go crazy bad, break an ankle, whatever. Can't break an ankle, he'd retire. You know what I mean. And maybe Federer loses that set, loses that match. It happens. Federer has gotten a lead and lost that set. It's happened. But aren't you comfortable betting on that? Wouldn't you be comfortable? Especially the year that Federer won like 96% of his matches. If you had bet on pullbacks during that year, you would have made a killing. Same thing with your financial instrument. So buying on pullbacks exists everywhere. Or you could just flat out follow the trend, right? Let's say you go to a new restaurant, it opens up, but there's nobody there, but it's really, really good. The food is amazing. But you notice it's just only a couple people there. What do you think? You think, ha ha, ha, I found something pretty good. I found something that people don't know about yet. And if you were going to say, buy that restaurant or buy stock in that restaurant, let's say, and all of a sudden a news article comes out, that is in essence a breakout. Instead of being obscure, it's breaking out. It's in the papers, the word of mouth, plus the paper, plus the internet. Probably that's going to be a full restaurant going forward, and probably they're going to do very well for an extended period of time. That's no different than buying a breakout. Taking it, if price has been going sideways for a while and eventually it shoots upward, buying it after the news article, after the attention is given to a restaurant, or after attention's been paid to this financial instrument, isn't it a wise idea to go ahead and buy that stock as it starts shooting up? These types of trading systems exist. They make sense. You experience them all the time. And if you're using a trading system that you've experienced and can use in the real world, guess what? It's probably a really good trading system. But here's what isn't a system, just to have a little compare and contrast. Let's say your system is something like this. You bet on the San Antonio Spurs, greatest basketball team ever, or at least my favorite. You bet on the San Antonio Spurs because when they play a game after you've had a golf lesson and it's the first Tuesday of the month and you've seen at least 5 BMWs that day and the temperature outside is over 60 degrees Fahrenheit and you're sitting on your lucky couch, when all of those things happen and you bet the Spurs to win, you never lose. That is ridiculous. Okay? None of those things have anything to do with anything else. None of those things actually contribute. They're totally unrelated. Clearly, we can all see that. However, think about that though. Think about the amount of testing that's gone into this particular trading system, right? You've had golf lessons, you've had Tuesdays, you've had monthly research, you've had 5 BMWs, you've had car research, you've had temperature research, you've had, right? And lucky couch. All of those things, that is basically data mining. That is basically going through a ton of data and just finding anomalies and putting them together and thinking it's a trading system. This obviously is not true. It doesn't exist in the real world. It's fragile. It won't work probably the next time. And clearly that's not a trading system. It doesn't exist in the real world. So don't bet it. And furthermore, it just doesn't make sense. All right, so maybe we have an idea, but how will you really know? How do you know that the trading system, all right, maybe you've picked one of those things that makes sense, okay? But you're scared, because I've been scared. I've been scared of trading systems all along, right? What if it doesn't work, right? That's just a part of being a trader. So how do you get over the being scared and get into being confident? How do you get over the fear of missing out? How do you commit to one particular system and not worry about what another system might bring you? In other words, if they all work, if all of those systems work and all of its permutations, how do I pick one and stay with it? Well, the answer is very simple. Trade it live with a small trade size, but you have to trade it live, okay? Now, if you're trying out, say, a brand new robot, of course, trade it demo. But I'm talking about you've tested it out, you're ready to go, you understand your platform. I'm assuming all the technical knowledge has been taken care of. Then you need to trade it live with a very, very small trade size. Okay, going back. How do you choose a racket? Will you play a set with it? That person who came to me with that racket trouble, listen, I would put a racket in his hand, say choose one at gunpoint possibly, make him put that racket in his hand and play a set. When you play a competitive set with it, you'll know, right? You'll know. You'll either hate the way it feels, right? Especially on big points. When it's game point, you'll know if you like that racket because you won't want to even hit the ball. Or you'll hit a serve and it goes long every time because it's too light. Or when you mishit it a little bit, you don't like the mishits, the racket rattles and the ball goes out and it just feels and sounds horrible. Believe me, you play a live set, you'll know. And it won't take a week or 2 weeks or a month. It won't take time. Play one set and you'll love it or you hate it. All right, so how do you choose a trading system? Trade it live for a month, at least a week. Trade it live for a while, right? Don't just take a bunch of winners. Or trade it live until you see a loser, right? I say a month here because I want to have you have plenty of time, and me too, right? It takes me about a month to test out a trading system before I feel great about it. But trade it live and you'll know right away. You'll love how it takes the trades. You already understand the methodology behind it, of course, but you'll love how it takes. You love how short the trades last. Oh, these trades are over a couple hours. That's great. Or you'll hate it that's over in a couple hours. Ah, I took a loss. It's only 2 hours, and in 2 hours I can lose a certain amount of money. I hate that. And look, it came back anyway. I'd rather trade longer term. You'll know all these things, but you won't know it by discussing or by thinking about it. You're only going to know by trading it. So once you pick a trading system that makes sense, that's universal, that makes sense in the real world, and then you trade it live and you know that you like it, when you get to that point, only one thing can stop you from being profitable, and that's FOMO. That's the fear of missing out. You've done all the work. You have something that's probably going to work for you for a long time. But if you let that fear creep in, if you let that fear that something else might be doing better, if you let that override your system or make you stop trading or change your system, then you're probably not going to be profitable. Pick something that makes sense. Pick something that you like how it trades. And if you do that, you'll never, ever be missing out. Now let's give an update on what's going on in Robot FX Trading World. I am back live on multi-charts. I'm now going extensively into multi-charts trading. I went live yesterday, but I didn't get a trade. So I'm going to turn it back on again and see a trade. I just want to compare it to MT4 and, of course, back to TradeStation. I would love to be able to use multi-charts, mostly because I spent $1,300 on the platform. So that would be really nice if I could make it work. But really, really enjoying MT4 quite a bit. Still doing, and by the way, speaking of MT4, but more on multi-charts to come. But speaking of MT4, it's still performing similarly to my old TradeStation estimates. I think it's still doing better on the same trades taken. I think I'm up over 40 live trades now. MT4 has actually done better than TradeStation estimates. So far so good. I'm still live on MT4. The new trend following robot is finally done. It's been completed. Now I just need to test it out. And what I mean by that is I just put it on the screen and I compare the trades. I want to make sure it takes trades in exactly the same manner. If not, then I go back and make some tweaks or whatever. So that one is done. I just need to be able to have time to test it. I hope to do that, golly, in the next 24 hours. And I like saying golly. I think that sounds old-timey. But it won't take long. And if you're interested in that system, whatever, we can look at the numbers and just email me. Of course, lifetime members get it for free. Houston's around the corner. Excited about that. And of course, check email, Twitter, and all the blog posts to get the latest updates. Don't forget the Thursday webinar. I'm going to talk more about this fear of missing out and look at some actual numbers and some trading systems and try to prove to you that you don't need to fear that you're missing out. So I'm excited about that. The link for the Thursday webinar will be below this blog post. Just click on that register, and it's 2 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. Hopefully I'll see you there, and I will talk to you soon.